to Let's Get Spiritual. I'm your host, Annie, and I'm here with my bestie, Ashley, and we'd love for you to join us as we discuss all aspects of spirituality and wellness. So sit back, take a breath, and let's get spiritual. Welcome back, everyone. It's Annie and Ashley.
Hey, guys.
I hope everyone is doing well.
Yes. Listen, just so the listeners know, we're doing a hardcore, binge type recording
Yes.
today.
We have a lot of topics we want to cover, and it's just more convenient for us to get together and just bust them all out in one shot.
Hell yeah.
Plus, it's cool. What I like is your readings, how they still apply to whomever it lists. Like whenever you listen to it in the readings, it's meant for you at that time.
Yes.
Which is cool.
Topic 1 today, I practiced so hard.
Yeah.
And I'm so ready for it.
Oh, I'm ready. Let's get into it.
Let's get spiritually into it, people.
Yeah. So this week, we're getting into the topic of self-love.
Yes.
And the reason we actually are doing this podcast too is because we know, and again, there's all these cool aspects of spirituality, but they're not always easy to achieve or maintain or practice.
Exactly.
Self-love is literally the top one, I think, because there's so much against us. So many things in life are against us from actually allowing us to love ourselves.
Facts. And I think if you can embrace self-love, sometimes some of the other things that we've talked about
just fall into place. Yeah. You end up setting more boundaries for yourself and
being more mindful.
Yeah. There's a lot of things that ripple out of that simple act. And it's
it's
the
not even
hardest
simple
one.
though.
No,
That's
it's
the worst part.
No. Simple in theory, but
difficult
definitely.
to execute.
Oh, man. So literally every single person deserves love. And I know there's a lot of people that we may not think that about, but ultimately they probably need it the most.
Especially if they're extra crusty. That means that they didn't get enough love in their life
You need so many
at all.
hugs and love. And a lot of that stems from, and we're going to dive into this in another episode, we already talked about it, is how we grew up and what our conditioning.
Trauma.
Yeah, childhood trauma. That's some scary shit. That ain't right.
We were playing with the buttons before we got started today.
Ready.
Get ready. Yeah.
But yeah, it's really what kept us a lot from learning how to love ourselves. We're always being compared to something else. We just never feel like we're doing anything right. Society has this idea of what body should look like and how people should act and what should happen in life and at what part in your life and age in your life you should be accomplishing things. And there's so many things that just tear us up when we don't meet those standards.
And not everybody fits those cookie cutter, old school mindsets of how things should have been. Okay, well, world ain't like that no more, so we can't be living that way.
I'm an Aquarius, so I'm always going, it's hard for me to have rules to follow like that because I'm it's not in my nature to have these restrictions or ideas.
Free.
Yeah. What's your perception? Let me just be myself.
Exactly.
So being yourself is ultimately
the best version of self-love that you can really
is
have.
Honoring yourself from a high level of integrity and really good morals, not a crusty version of yourself where you're just not
where
doing
you're angry all the time and stuff. Nobody wants that.
It has to come from a really good place in your heart.
Yeah.
And from there, when you just stick to doing that, you just kind of roll with it and you are
more good things like you said. Okay, listen. We are going to address this because it's just the two of us in this room.
Yeah.
And there is a fancy owl camera that just adjusted itself because we're talking to it.
Yeah.
That only is supposed to pay attention to the people in the room.
Yeah. It only is supposed to hi.
Again.
Yeah. So if you see the camera picking up on random microphones, the wall. Why the wall? Why? We're so far away.
And it just started, and I feel like it's happening more because we're addressing it right now. It is a mystery, hence the mystery button.
Yeah.
So we're going to apologize
We're just addressing it. It's there. We've accepted it.
Say it.
It is what it is.
So weird. So we're going to practice some self-love and just try to ignore it because it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. So again, a lot of people don't even know where to start with self-love. And I think the first place to start is to really just be mindful of how you speak. We talked about that in our Power episode where the power of our words is much more than you could ever imagine with
especially
your mind.
Your internal monologue. The things you say to yourself matter so much, and people do not appreciate that enough. They think that if on the outside, they're like, oh, no, I'm amazing. But if on the inside, you're telling yourself you're crap, and you're not worth it and your value is low, guess what? That's what you're going to start seeing around you and feeling. And if
you're always comparing yourself to someone or something, like you're never going to allow yourself, just do you, boo. Exactly. You don't have to do what that person's doing. Maybe make that goals.
Exactly.
But you got to do it at your own pace, at your own level. Like, we have to appreciate the differences in each other more.
Exactly. And use those differences in each other to be a motivator to try to change your life, or let that person be like a mentor for you. Like, don't be hating just because somebody's got something you don't got.
Yeah.
Like, you're not practicing love in general, let alone self-love, if you are comparing yourself that hard to people.
And in reality, how can you love someone else if you don't truly unconditionally love yourself?
Exactly. You can't even tell people or express to people how they should love you if you don't love you. Like, come on, people.
Exactly.
It is that simple. But again, so difficult.
It is. Yes. I mean, personally speaking, I made some really, what I view now as terrible mistakes in my earlier days.
I'm going to pause that because they weren't mistakes, because look who and how you are now.
I know. And that's what I've like learned from it. And I needed to go through those things, but like, it was hard for me to forgive myself. Yeah. And I always never thought I deserved nice things because of all the terrible things I've done. You know what I mean? Like that's also a negative way to keep yourself from loving yourself.
Exactly.
And it happened for a really long time. It wasn't until therapy, like less than 5 years ago from now, where and she said it so perfectly. She's like, because I said I was such a bad person. She's like, I don't think you're a bad person. I just don't think you were in the mindset to make the right choices.
Right.
And I was like, oh my God.
Seriously, that was
Thank you.
She was pretty much like, stop feeling guilty.
Yeah, I really from then on, I really just started to be like, no, I'm not a bad person. I do deserve good things. I deserve the things that I want and want to achieve.
Exactly. And I was going to say, I think that guilt is something that holds a lot of people back.
Yeah,
from
for sure.
Really embracing themselves and really practicing that self-love and having that high regard for yourself, you know, because
parents especially, there is a parent guilt that is hard. It is slapped on there. Yeah, that is bad.
That is not.
I get it. It's your kid. Yeah. I understand where it comes from. But if you would want your child to love themselves, then be an example for that, of what that looks like, and show them mommy or daddy need some time for themselves this weekend, and you're going to stay with uncle or aunt or friend or
grandma or grandpa or whatever. Yeah. But
and be that example and show them how important it is to honor yourself and your emotions and your feelings, so that they can learn from that and do it for themselves.
And do the same thing. We actually shout out to our friend that we were hanging out with last night. I'm sure we could say her name, but we won't. We'll be kind.
Yeah, Rumi.
Yes, we'll just refer to her as Rumi.
Yeah.
It was amazing hanging out with her and just hearing how different she's parenting her kids, especially her daughter who's older. Yeah. So her daughter's so smart. She's like 8 going on 28. It's ridiculous. But the way that she has made communicating feelings and expressing like just your feelings and herself and all that stuff, how she's made that such a common practice and such a common just conversation with her kid it's beautiful. It's chef's kiss.
Yes, that's this right here.
Yes.
It is. I think that's how you do it.
Yes. And I think that that's the thing that a lot of us unfortunately missed out on. Like, our parents weren't taught that self-love was a thing, and caring for yourself, putting yourself first. People think it's so selfish, and sometimes it can be. I mean,
that's the guilt.
The way you do it matters. Yeah.
There's got to be balance
But that's the guilt. People try to make you feel bad if you, again, love yourself, to have boundaries, love yourself enough to realize you need some alone time or be mindful about things. It's just... Again,
everything is against it.
Thing.
Yeah, there's so many things. Again, even, we have this idea of what self-love looks like, that it's like bubble baths and
I'm going to self-love myself with this mocha.
Yeah, there you go. Get a sippy sip. Oh, it's not like bubble baths, and it's not manis and petties. Yes, those are like little things about it. It is more of the like deeper, like forgiving yourself for things that you've done from a different frame of mind.
Yeah. Real self-love. I'm not saying that having mani-pedis and stuff.
No, it is. It is.
Like that's time that you're taking for yourself.
It's not just
but it's that like stuff. Real self-love is actually sitting down with yourself, and sometimes it's even literally just sitting down with yourself and looking at yourself in the mirror and saying, you are beautiful. Yeah. You are smart. You are of value, and just really building yourself up. Sometimes the way that we build other people up, we don't do to ourselves. And literally sitting in a mirror and saying the same loving things that you would say to someone that's feeling bad about themselves and saying it to yourself is such a transformative like practice.
Even if you don't believe it, just say it until you
make it. Yeah. Like that's one time where I'll be like, yes, do that.
That's the only time it's okay to do it.
There's certain times in life where it's okay. That is one of them.
Yeah. And like ultimately those things again are nice, but it's more than just all the fun bubble baths and stuff like that.
Taking time for yourself. It's also really getting to know yourself and accept yourself and forgive yourself, like you said.
Yeah, and it's changing the narrative from something negative to maybe a blessing or something positive in the situation. And I mean, again, from my own personal experience, ever since then, I started to do that and put my own needs first. And I feel like it's a really different way of how like life just is unfolding more naturally for me. It's just crazy because I just feel like I don't have to work as hard.
Yeah.
Because I'm coming from a place of higher integrity. I have really been working on doing those kinds of things, and it's nice to see that it has its benefits.
Like exactly. Well, and just like everything that we've talked about so far, it does involve a lot of practice. It does involve consistency. And after you've done it long enough and had that consistency, it does become a lot easier.
Yeah. I'm not saying like just recently.
You're never going to be perfect.
No. Recently I had a bout where I was like, I'm not being very nice to myself.
That happens where I'm like, well, ew.
Wow. And I was just, just not fitting into my clothes the way that I wanted to, or, like I got off the healthy kick for a little while for too long and too hard and like stuff like that. Or with my business, like if I'm not meeting the goals that I set for myself, it's really easy to like beat myself up over that.
Of course it is. It's so much easier to be mean and negative. I think it was the last episode that we said that it
actually takes the same amount.
Padma or whatever her name is. I'm so sorry I disrespected that. I don't know what your name is, but you're an adorable lady and I like you. I don't know if I agree with that, though. I actually think that it's harder to be positive than it is to be negative, depending on the type of person you are, maybe.
Yeah, I think it's our perception of it that it feels harder, but I think it really does take the same amount of effort. Like,
true. I mean, yes and no. I don't know. I think I'm walking a line on that one because it does take the same amount of effort, yes, but I feel like for some people
there's more mental hurdles. I think when it comes to it, there's just more in the way of actually being more positive. And we live in a
society where negative things are so easily and readily available for us and in front of us for excuses. Yeah. That's why I think sometimes being negative can be simpler because there's just always something to reinforce that. Like so instantly there's something to reinforce that. Where sometimes having that, again, taking that moment to talk to yourself better and to practice self-love, it's not instant.
No.
It does take a little bit more because there is so much working against us when it comes to self-love.
Yeah. Like, again, from every angle financially now with this freaking inflation.
Ew. It's ridiculous.
Like everything is working against us to just be not our best selves and not take time to do things for ourselves.
To make everything feel like a struggle.
This one sucks. I made a commitment to myself and loving myself. I want to be very mindful of what I'm putting into my body and my diet. And I make really conscious decisions when I go to the grocery store. And they do cost more. It sucks that I'm paying more money for things with less like pesticides
to be healthier.
It sucks. And now it's like even worse. So like, do I continue that commitment to myself? Because I have to make some cuts. Like, and the first place we take those cuts is to ourselves.
Exactly.
We allow ourselves all the sleep deprivation to get things done. We don't allow ourselves time to cool down or to relax after we've been on the go for so long. Like our self-love is the first place the first priority that we'll
start to withdraw from.
Yes.
We don't need all that. That's fine.
Yeah. And it sucks. Like we really need to be more conscious of it and give ourselves the opportunity to do things for ourselves.
Facts.
So I kind of wanted to get a little bit into like some of the things that you do to practice self-love for yourself, or some of the experiences that you've had where it's been hard for you too.
I think probably one of the biggest things that I do for self-love is my morning ritual of meditating and working out. That's great. Trust me, I don't always succeed on this. This week was real spotty. But it's one of those things where because it was real spotty this week, I feel the difference. I notice the difference. So I know today was day one of recommitting to, okay, girl, like this routine is your self-love practice. It makes you feel good. It gets you mentally, energetically. Everything is just tight and in point.
Yes.
You got to stick with it. So yeah, I think that that's definitely one of my biggest things recently that I would say is the biggest proponent to self-love for me.
Yeah, that is a good one. And
also cleaning. I cleaned today because I said that I did self-love today. I slept till 9 o'clock. Who am I? I worked out this morning. Thank God. I did my dishes. That was also another thank God. And because I'm the epitome of adulting, I got my groceries delivered too.
Yes.
So I got so much stuff done today.
Like, I'm ready.
That stuff to me is like self-love. Like when I go home tonight or whenever we're done with this, I'm going to walk into a clean house.
Yep.
It's going to be smelling good. It's going to be looking good. And that just makes me feel better.
Exactly. So. Well, one of the things that I was going to talk about that I do is I've made lists of what I like, what I don't like. I'm a list. Guys, if you haven't learned by now, I'm the biggest nerd.
Making lists.
I make lists. I like science. It's just, hello, here I am. So I made a list. It's so funny. Things, my fears, things that I love, things that I don't like just to really get to know myself. Kind of like those questionnaires when you're getting to know a significant other. Mm-hmm. I do that to me.
To yourself. Let me get to know me.
Once I decided to be on my own and get my own apartment, I really decided to get to know myself because I felt like for so long I was just so worried about someone else or other people, and I forgot who I was. Mm-hmm. So really just taking the opportunity to learn about ourselves and forgive ourselves for maybe not always being the best versions that we'd like to be, but always just giving ourselves some love and encouragement to keep on that path and keep doing the things you're doing to be who you want to be.
Yeah.
So
consistency.
Oh yeah, that's a great one. It really comes down to is making yourself a priority.
Yeah.
You have to be a priority in order, to be a role model to your family, your friends, your children. Not that you have to be, but if you're a parent, you should
want to be
a role model for your kids and show them good examples of how to treat yourself and how to treat others. Bullying and like that kind of thing is not from a place of self-love. But that tells me that you're not in a place to love and accept yourself so much that you're just picking everything apart about someone else instead to deflect it off of you.
Exactly, to pull them down to where you feel. And I also think that another really important part of what you said about putting yourself first is because it is a fine line of being selfish.
Yeah, it is. It is
like actually being thoughtful and loving of yourself and others. And I think that that's one thing I always say to people is if you're making your decisions and you're coming from a place of love, that you're making the right decisions, you're taking the right actions.
That's where the integrity and the morals really come in. You have to have a good, strong sense of that and make a list.
Exactly. Make a list.
Make a list of it. If you don't know, what do I feel about this, or what are my values and morals?
Even though I giggle at your list, I mean, it is true. If you don't know these things, especially now if we're talking about it and you're like, oh, wow, I don't know anything about myself like that.
Figure it out.
Yeah, write it down.
What are your big don'ts? Don't cross me. These are things that I take very offensively, or what are the things that you give to other people, you expect from other people. We talked about that too, expectations.
Yeah, that's self-love practice too. Don't expect yourself from other people.
Yeah.
If you are giving of yourself, thinking that this person or situation is going to give back to you in the same respect, that is not self-love. That is you being selfish.
Yeah.
Because you should not be giving of yourself to people and situations with an expectation attached to it.
Yeah, exactly. You have another agenda there that's not well intended.
Exactly. And that is that fine line of self-love and selfish.
Yeah.
It's crusty.
It is a fine line.
I like how our friend has been hanging out with us this whole time.
Hello.
I don't know what's going on over there, but
it is what it is.
I know. I need answers. You know that I need answers.
I know. Well, one day when we have an episode with like a medium or someone who can see ghosts or something, I don't know what this is. It could not be a ghost. It could just be a sensor issue, but why? Anyway, moving on. One of my favorite things that you said, I think you said it earlier, and we've said it in past episodes, is if you wouldn't talk to someone else that way, don't talk to yourself that way. Exactly. You don't deserve it. And a lot of people, again, just feel like they don't deserve things, and everyone deserves love. Everyone deserves to have all the best things. It is our birthright.
Yeah. I think that the hardest, because I have a friend that's going through some stuff right now, and he is very much deserving of all these great things. Yeah. And he had a moment of realizing that. But in the way that the universe works is that once you start to get a little wokey woke and you realize that you start to deserve things, the universe will test you. Yeah. Which means that, you might have some great steps and then all of a sudden you hit a brick wall. Yep. Because you're supposed to get past the brick wall. You're supposed to go, okay, this really sucks. Yep. I can't believe this is happening. Why me? You can totally have that moment because you're allowed. Some of these situations are allowed to have crusty moments. But the whole point is the quick bounce back. The bounce back of going, okay, it's easier really to get sucks.
Through these walls. Yes. And each time you learn more about that and how to approach it, how you could have done better. And instead of beating yourself up over it, learn from it
and realize that you're still of value. You still deserve all of those amazing things that got you started on this process. Just because you didn't get it as easily or as quickly as you wanted does not mean that you still are not deserving of it. And I think that's a obstacle that a lot of people come up against is when things don't come easy. If it's not instant gratification, they're just like, see, it's not worth it.
Yeah. Or it's too hard. Yeah. I'm not getting the results I want, or I don't feel the benefits of doing this. I don't see anything, but really it does matter.
It does. Yes. And it is going to get better. And it's a mindset, people. It's hard.
It's
no
hard.
One said it's easy, but it's very much worth it.
Absolutely. Well, on that note, I think it's time for some tarot.
Yes. All right.
Well, while Ashley shuffles her cards, we're going to take some mindful, loving breaths. We're going to inhale love, and we're going to send it to every cell in our body with each exhale. We're going to do it for 3 counts, 3 times. We're going to inhale 1 and exhale for 3. Inhale all that love. Send it all to yourself. And one last time. Because y'all deserve it. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. I got so excited. I just... That was weird. I want our friends back for this.
Nope.
Okay, bye.
Bye. Don't you guys bye. I want one more card, but I feel like that's it. I mean, okay. I'll take it. I'll take that one too.
All Ooh. Right. That ended up being great.
I know. I like it. The one card that did come out with just complete and utter like BDE, I love it. Yes, the strength card.
Ooh, so that is great. That is perfect for this,
and I feel like it goes very well with this episode. Again, we don't pick these pick us, so I just go with it. But strength. I also nothing else really came out, so I did look at the bottom of the deck. We have a 9 of Cups. This guy is looking awfully smug and happy with his life choices. Yeah, and then my favorite is the High Priestess.
Yes.
So I really feel like there's a good message here overall that does kind of go along with our episode. And I think that a lot of the message is to really rely on yourself. Realize that you're much stronger than you give yourself credit for. Realize that you're far more in tune with the universe than you really give yourself credit for. And I think once you can embrace that, you'll have lots to be proud of. I did move the cards around. As you know, I kind of just go with how I feel. So we're going to have a tarot episode coming up, which I'm excited to talk about, so I can kind of explain how I interpret things a little bit more. But I do think that this very much tells a nice theme and a nice story to go with today's episode about just having that courage and that strength to trust yourself, and good things will happen.
Yes. Boom. That's great. Yeah, definitely on that.
Almost missed the button.
Oh, man. Well, thank you guys so much. We love that you listen to us. We want you to follow us on our Facebook page, The Hidden Gem LV, Lehigh Valley. And then
A Positive Place on Facebook.
You can also find my website, thehiddengemlv.com. I also want to give a shout out to Venture X. We haven't really done that yet.
No, yeah, that's where we record our episodes.
Yes, and to Ben at Steel Pixel Studios for helping us out with our editing. Ben. I'm sorry about all that stuff.
Whatever.
I don't know what to do.
We're going to name it so that, it has
it's all good.
Spot on the show, I guess. That's fine.
Well, thank you all so much. And don't forget to please give yourself some self-love and stay spiritual.
Yes. Woo! Have a good night, guys.
Bye.
Bye.